Hello, I'm Harry Hobson, President and CEO of Plymouth Harbor.
And I'm Karen Novak, the Administrator for Strategic Health here at Plymouth Harbor as well.
Karen, we're going to go through an update today on our video. There are several topics that we're going to touch on. Of course, along with our COVID campus update, there's a lot to report there. And we'll also talk about where Plymouth Harbor is regarding mandatory vaccines for all of its team members. And then in addition to this section on COVID, I'd like you to tell us what you know, any updates, and I think there is one regarding the vaccine booster. So why don't we go ahead and start with that, and I'll let you have it.
Now, Harry, it's been a very busy week here at Plymouth Harbor. Currently, we have one independent resident that's vaccinated fully and is positive. We have one independent resident that's fully vaccinated and under observation right now. We also have 30 residents in our Smith Care Center that are under observation. And I can share with you that all of our residents that are under observation are asymptomatic and they're doing quite well. The one resident that we have in independent living that is positive is showing mild symptoms, but doing well on the whole. And again, that goes back to what those vaccines are supposed to do. They're supposed to prevent us from getting very sick and ending up in the hospital. And, you know, the other alternative is dying. And we're very thankful that we have those vaccines on board to really keep those signs and symptoms at a minimum. The team members that we have positive currently are 9. We have 6 that are fully vaccinated and 3 that are not vaccinated. There are some that are symptomatic, but those that are symptomatic and fully vaccinated are showing mild symptoms. The team members are from Dining Services and SCC. All of our team members that are either under observation or positive are actually at home, under isolation or under observation, and they do call me once a day and I check in to make sure that they're all doing okay. Again, we want to remind you that this Delta variant that is out there right now is so contagious, and that viral load that that variant is carrying is really, really high. And that's what's making it so infectious for those that are fully vaccinated. So we're going to ask you to remember to put that mask on when you're out in the public, because again, we want to protect you from acquiring that virus and carrying that virus in your nares and then transmitting it to somebody else. We want to remind you not to, refrain from going to those large group activities. And then also, if you are not feeling well, please call home care. Don't come down, but call us and we'll come up to your apartment and we actually will swab you. You're important to us and we want to make sure that you stay safe and that we take good care of you.
Karen, would you just take another moment and share with everyone what we're doing with team member testing now?
You know, we've been very lucky. We have our partner, LabStat, that has actually come into Plymouth Harbor and is doing rapid testing, the antigen testing for our team members. And I'll tell you, Harry, it went so well yesterday. We hit the whole house in just a few hours. And then they came back last night at 10 o'clock and tested the night shift. They come in, they're quick, they're courteous, they're professional, and they've done a great job. We identified those team members that were positive right away, which is an advantage for us. And those results came back to us before the end of the business day. So we're very fortunate to have a partner like LabStat to work with, and they've just been terrific.
Now, how often will we be doing our team member testing?
You know, currently in our regulated area, Smith Care Center, due to the positivity rate in our community, we're having to test twice a week rather. And again, we're in an outbreak mode there. So that kind of warrants the need too for testing twice a week. In our independent areas, as well as our ALF, we are testing twice a month. So we're using LabStat, and it's very, very nice. It kind of frees up both Erica and I to really attend to many of the other things that COVID is bringing our way, and we are addressing those. Very nice now that we've got LabStat on board.
Good, good. But let me take a few minutes here and talk about mandatory vaccines. I think almost any news report today, so much of the written media as well, you're seeing how more and more companies and healthcare organizations are requiring vaccines for all of its team members. And what I can share with everyone is that if you look across Plymouth Harbor, 75% of our team members have been fully vaccinated. And if you go specifically into our nursing home, the Smith Care Center, that number is slightly less, but it sits around 72 to 73%. Plymouth Harbor, we want to get to 100% of our team members being vaccinated, unless there's a medical exception or a deeply religious conviction against vaccines. That's our goal. So what I can say is that Plymouth Harbor is now seriously considering having mandatory vaccinations for all of its team members. So stay tuned for that. That's very, very important. We owe it. We owe it to our residents. We owe it to all of our team members to try to have the safest environment to both live and work in. So more to come on that topic. There was an announcement late last night or early today from the FDA regarding boosters. Could you share that with us, Karen?
Sure. Last night, the FDA approved an additional dose of the messenger RNA vaccine for certain immunocompromised individuals. These individuals are those solid organ transplant recipients, or those that are diagnosed with conditions that are considered to be an equivalent level of immunocompromise. We don't know quite yet what that all entails other than the organ transplant recipients. But as soon as the committee for advisory, the CDC's Advisory Committee on Immunization Practice, it's that big committee that sometimes gets a little heavy on your tongue.
Oh, I know it does.
As soon as that committee really approves what the FDA is saying, they're going to make some clinical indicators or clinical recommendations as to what defines immunocompromised, as well as those conditions, i.e. diagnosis, that are appropriate to have that, I don't want to say an additional vaccine or a booster, but we know that those that are immunocompromised, sometimes they did not receive the ability to really accept those fully vaccinated two vaccines like you and I, Harry. For those that are not immunocompromised, we're able to really address and utilize what those vaccines have given to us, but those immunocompromised don't quite have that ability to do that. So really what they're getting is another vaccine that pretty much brings them up to the level that you and I are after our two doses. So it's like a makeup or a PS kind of vaccine. The Immunization Committee is actually scheduled to meet today. Once they meet, they will make those recommendations to the CDC. And then actually from there, we will get the information and get the green light as to when we can start the actual extra dosing. We're not quite sure yet if it's going to happen through our local long-term care pharmacy or if we're going to have that partnership with CVS again, or if we'll have it just like the flu clinics that we do here at Plymouth Harbor. But either way, rest assured, Plymouth Harbor is ready to go, and we're going to get those vaccines when we know what is appropriate and to whom it will go to. So know that we are staying on top of that. We're going to continue to monitor the evidence-based research as well as the CDC guidance for when those extra shots are needed for those that are immunocompromised, but also too, when we need the boosters. Currently, the data is not there to say, yes, we need boosters, you and I, Harry. Once we understand that, once the CDC says, you know what, it's time to get those boosters in place, Plymouth Harbor, again, will act appropriately.
You know, this is not an official word, but, you know, this is Harry Hobson talking. And I do believe that the booster for the rest of us will probably be out there, if not late fall, early winter. So, and we'll keep everybody apprised of any updates on that. For sure.
Sure. You know, again, COVID is just so new to us, and we're learning day by day what is going on. And the CDCs through their clinical trials are actually monitoring those antibody levels, as well as many other things like the T cells. And we're not going to get into a lot of that. But the CDC and their clinical trials are telling us, right now we have enough in our bodies to fight off the COVID variants that are here now. Now, granted, if we don't get enough people vaccinated, that virus is going to continue to mutate. And maybe at some point down the road, those mutations or those new variants will not be effective against the vaccines that we have. But currently, our vaccine is definitely doing the job.
Karen, if I go back to the early part of your report, we talked about where we were regarding positive cases, et cetera. Well, you have the positive cases, and then we have to do our contact tracing. And as a result of the contact tracing, that can result in more team members having to stay home under observation. And that has put stress on staffing, no question about it. Our health services division, our nurses and support staff are really working overtime to make sure we give good care to our residents. And my hat goes off to each and every one of them. They're just working tirelessly. Much of what you see on TV, we experience here at Plymouth Harbor. And another area also has to do with the support service, like housekeeping, okay, and also dining services. So what I'm going to do now is invite our Director of Dining Services, Curtis Cornell, to join us. And he's going to talk a little bit about what our plans are as we go through this very challenging time with a reduction as far as our team member availability. So we're going to welcome now Curtis Cornell. So what I'd like to do now is welcome Curtis Cornell, who's been on many of our videos with us, our Director of Dining Services, to talk a little bit about dining services and the challenges that we're currently having with a reduction in the number of team members due to so many of them being on observation at home due to contact tracing. Curtis, share with us what our plan is for the next few weeks.
So for the next few weeks, and first we want to have our team members safe, and hopefully they get to join us back soon. But currently, the way that we're operating in dining services is because in Smith Care Center we've lost some key team members. We're having to transfer some of our team members from independent living over into those outlets so we can ensure that we're providing service to the Smith Care residents and also the memory care residents. Now, with that being said, we have to make some modifications to the menu that we offer for our independent living residents for our dinner meal period. So that modification is that we're still going to offer our 2 soups of the day. We'll offer 2 different entree salads, and then we're going to focus in on the right side of the entrees. So we'll be offering our fresh catch selection, the butcher block selection, the fresh pastas, the Plymouth Harbor favorites, and we'll also be adding a vegetarian option for our residents to choose from during the dinner meal periods. We'll still have all the selections as the side items. So for each one of those selections of those separate categories, you'll still be able to choose any one of the 2 delicious side items that we have listed on the menus. We are in the process of printing out all those menus. We'll be distributing them, putting them into our residents' mailboxes. We'll also put some at each one of the lobby front desks, just to ensure that we get the communication out there to all of our residents on what food we're going to be offering for our independent living residents at this time.
Okay, Curtis, thank you very much for that. I just want to emphasize with really all of our residents, this is going to be a reduction as far as our menu is concerned, and it takes a little longer to receive your meal. And please understand, it is due to the significant challenges we have right now. So we just ask you for your support and your patience. That's extremely important. And Curtis, thank you for developing this plan. We're going to do the best we can under these circumstances, and we will get through this together.
It's my pleasure. And please, to all our residents, please don't hesitate to shoot me an email. Come by my office if you have any questions or concerns. I'm more than happy to sit and speak with you at any time.
Okay, Curtis, thank you very much for joining in with us today, and we'll see you a little bit later.
All right, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Curtis.
What I'd like to do as we begin to close out today's update is talk a little bit about the tropical storm. It's been downgraded to a depression right now, Fred, which is passing through Cuba as we speak and headed toward southern Florida. So I've asked Elena Scandura, who is our emergency management coordinator here at Plymouth Harbor, to also join us today on this video. So I am going to invite Elena in. Elena, thank you very much for joining us. As I mentioned before, Elena Scandura is our emergency management coordinator here at Plymouth Harbor, a very vital position for us. And again, thank you for being with us. Well, we can't ignore the elephant in the room, so to speak. We do have a tropical depression. It goes back and forth from a tropical storm to a depression, Fred. And that's sitting out, I think it's over Cuba now, heading towards southern Florida. And we've had several storm team meetings. We've had interactions and a very impressive one this morning with Ed McCrane, and he is the chief of Sarasota County Emergency Management Division. Elena, tell us a little bit about what we're learning and maybe expecting with tropical depression right now, Fred.
Absolutely. Well, right now, Harry, as you mentioned, the storm is over the Dominican Republic and Haiti and heading to Cuba. That's good news for us because as the storm travels over land, it has a tendency to break up. However, once it leaves the land and enters into that warm water of the Gulf, it is expected to become a tropical storm. The good news is, I should say, actually, the great news is that it is not expected to become a hurricane, and therefore no evacuation is expected or will be ordered. So yes, for that. What we can expect in our area, heavy rain and flooding. There could be some possibility of some wind gusts up to 50 miles per hour, perhaps a storm surge 2 to 4 feet, and a possibility of tornado activity. And this is typical with any tropical storm. And we're expecting that maybe late tomorrow afternoon through Sunday. And our response is a couple of things. First, our storm team members are all on call and on standby. We should need them. Myself and a few other team members will be spending the night to assist in any areas that we can. We have placed towels in the colony rooms in the towers and are encouraging those residents who have a tendency to get leaks in their sliders or windows to go ahead and grab those towels now and place them in those areas. And if you should need more towels or any assistance, just call down to the concierge. We'll be happy to help out where we can. And simply my advice to everyone, stay indoors, close to Plymouth Harbor. This is really not the weekend to go venture out into the community.
Very good. Thank you, Elena. And something else that Mr. McCrane said this morning to us is that sometime probably later today, certainly early tomorrow, but there'll be announcements where there's an elevation of going maybe from a storm watch to a storm warning. Same thing in the tornado situation.
Right.
But that's all part of the protocol. So you'll hear those, but we've also have a pretty high confidence level that Fred, whether he's a storm or whether he's a depression, really will be more of a low wind and water event. No chance for a hurricane. And but as I just want to emphasize what Elena said, and that is, on conditions like that always seem to bring on warnings for tornadoes. So we'll be on lookout for that. And Elena, I'm so happy you reminded everybody to please stay indoors, stay close to the Plymouth Harbor campus. The peak of this will start probably about mid-afternoon tomorrow. And the event should be pretty much out of our area completely by midday on Sunday.
Absolutely.
So, well,
But-
Elena, thank you for joining us. No, go ahead, Karen. You got
Karen,
a
yeah.
question?
Yeah, I want to remind our residents that the home care nurses are indeed here. So during the event, for any kind of complication, anytime that you're not quite feeling well, do give us a call in home care at 210. Our nurses are here.
Okay. All right. Very good. Elena, thank you so much for joining us today. And we'll catch up with you a little bit later.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, Karen, this was a lot of information we wanted to share with our residents and team members today. I know it was an extended video, but it was an important one as well. We touched on what our conditions are right now across campus. We talked a little bit about to expect at some time in the not too distant future that we will have mandatory vaccines. I also want to remind people that earlier this year, we did adopt a policy that we only hire fully vaccinated team members. So that's been in place for some time now. And we also talked about where the FDA is today on the booster vaccine. And we feel as though it's going to be opened up to all of us probably, I'm going to say probably late fall, early winter. Curtis also shared with us some of the challenges we've got across campus, but particularly in dining services. And he talked about our Plan B. And I asked all residents to please support us in this and have patience with our staff. We're working as hard as we can across campus. And then, Karen, as we've said so much, well, why not? Let's also have a tropical storm. So
Why not?
so we brought Elena on to give us a briefing on a tropical storm, depression, whatever Fred decides he's going to be. And she gave us a good update on that as well. So Karen, I think that's all I've got for today. Did you have anything else to add?
I think we've covered it quite well. So we want to remind you to wash your hands quite frequently, hit those high contact areas quite often with those antibacterial wipes. You know, in a time we're back to having that virus, that highly infectious virus out and about. Please remember, in Plymouth Harbor, you got to wear your mask when you leave your apartment. But if you are out, not this weekend, if you are out and about in public, please remember to wear your mask. Again, this virus, this variant is highly contagious and it carries a high viral load. So please protect yourself. You're important to us. We're going to get through all of this together. So we want you to stay safe, stay well,
and stay tuned. And what I can share with you, we are energized. I want all residents to know that. And we are going to continue to work our way through the pandemic, weather conditions. We're going to get through all this together. And thank you very much for your support. Have a good day.